Alright, here it is as promised. The old Roman map, and part of why you have white looking North Africans to this day. It goes back to, well, first let me read you from Colin Wilson, Dinky's blog spot. It talks about haplogroups. Haplogroup E1B1 now contains two basal branches, EV38 E1B1A and EM215 E1B1B, which with V38 slash V100 joining the two previously separated lineages EM2 formerly E1B1A and EM329 formerly E1B1C. Each of these two lineages has a peculiar geographic distribution. EM2 is the most common haplogroup in sub-Saharan Africa, with frequency peaks in western about 80% and Central Africa around 60%. The same haplogroup is also present in North Africa, although at a lower frequency. Haplogroup EM329, on the other hand, was observed almost exclusively in Eastern Africa, where EM2 is virtually absent. The second basal branch of E1B1 is EM215, has a broad geographic distribution from southern Europe to northern and eastern Africa. So why is it in southern Europe? Because these are the white-looking black people. These are the black people who were mixed with the white people over such a long period of time, they ended up looking white. The Greeks, the Berbers, some of the Italians, some of the southern Europeans. Now, as I go to, because remember, just think of Europe as Africa, as America, right? It's just like that, where you had different races. One part of Europe, you had a lot of Asians, okay? As you go toward Eastern Europe. And as you go towards Africa on the south, you have a lot of black people. So where does the knowledge come from in Europe? It comes from the south. It comes from Italy. It comes from Greece. You see what I'm saying? And it traveled over there to the islands in England. And the people in England had a barrier, a proxy to guard them, to guard their stolen treasures from the enemies trying to take them back, via the Moors, etc. So now we go to, remember in 133 BC, King Attalus of Pergamum bequeaths his kingdom to Rome in his will when he dies. So what happened? The Pergamum in Revelations, King Attalus, Rome, there's your connection. Now, you go to Aramaic, Hebrew, Arabic, Southern Arabic, Ge'ez, and Amharic. These are the different Semitic languages spoken 1st century AD. And if you would notice, Aramaic was spoken in the majority of the region where Israel was, in Canaan and Palestine. And Arabic was the majority language below them. So these are not the Arabs. They speak a different language than the Arabs. They're a different people. And they have the same ancestor, but it branches off. Now, it's important to note, it's the same way the blacks and the Arabs have the same ancestors and branches off. It's important to note that in Ethiopia, you have two Semitic languages, just like you have two of them in around, the area of Israel. This has to do with, in Lebanon. This has to do with, in Jordan. This has to do with the fact that, and of course, where Osama bin Laden from, he speaks Southern Arabic. He's way away from where things went down. These people have nothing to do with it. They when Hebrew was being done, those tribes migrated to my people. They didn't migrate with the Arabs. They were fighting with the Arabs. The Jews didn't intermingle with the Arabs. They barely intermingled with the whites. Most of them went to Africa. Now, we go to, so it's funny that Bruce Willis in that movie Tears of the Sun says God left Africa long ago when most of the Jews went to Africa. And so, and this is part of what's meant by the meek, and the first will be last and last will be first. Anyway, this is the distribution of E1B1, and if you look at the map, what does it show you? High frequencies in Italy, high frequencies in Greece, frequencies in Spain. Every single country in Southern Europe has a presence of E1B1. And some of them have a large presence. And the ones that have a large presence happen to be the ones who have embodied God. The difference between them and the rest of the E1B1 guys is they had the power and money to spread their ideology, but they're spreading the same ancestral African sub-Saharan black E1B1 message. When Abraham was continuing his customs, he was continuing the Babylonian customs of the ancient Egyptians that were passed down to him. So, just like Jesus didn't break the covenant of Moses, Moses didn't break the covenant of Abraham, and Abraham didn't break the covenant of the ancient Egyptians like Menzies the First. Thank you. And we will go to the next slide. These are the different depictions of Libyans, Berber people. Now, if you look at the Berbers, even the modern Berbers have, how should I say, less than thick afros. Okay, they have long curls instead of thick, compact curls like you see in the West African. They have a more, almost like an Arab, a North African Arab texture to their hair, just like the Egyptians. So when you see the headdress and you see the hair, that is not representing straight hair. No, no, no. They have a different picture for that. That is representing a mixture of, you know, big curls, long curls, elongated curls. Now, I bring you the next picture, and I'll end it with this one because it's a lot of information to soak in, and you only got about a couple minutes left in the video. So, in this picture, I said the Assyrians remind me of the Jews. Now, where was the Assyrians empire? Oh, right here. Where were the Jews? Over here. Why are they the same people? The same reason that the Muslims are related to Abraham is the same reason the Assyrians are related to Abraham. So in their depiction, it is similar, this kind of light-skinned Semitic person. Now, when I say the Jews are black, their language is African, their bloodline is African, they are your white Africans. If I married a white girl and I had a kid, that's what they would look like. If you see my meaning. And to deny that they had black blood and deny that I was the most spiritual person in their family would be a great injustice to my memory and to the memory of thought and the history and the memory of Jesus and truth. So, on the left side, you have Israel, Judah, Philistines, etc. On the right side, you have Edom, Moab, Ammon, Damascus, the Armenian tribes, the Nabutu tribes, and the nomadic Arab tribes. Now, what does that tell you? Just like the Bloods, say the right side and the left side, this is the deeper hidden meaning behind that. Is that most of the Bloods are linked, have a strong link to the Muslim organizations, as do a lot of the Crips. But the difference is that the Bloods are almost completely assimilated by the Nation of Islam and Islamic thought. The difference is they are not radical Muslims from the Middle East or North Africa or Nigeria. They are watered down, regular black guys who are inspired by those kind of guys. And what you see is that Judah and his kingdom was very important. And you have the kings of Israel, the old kingdom, the new kingdom. Remember, there's different periods, different empires occupying them, subjugating the Jewish people and the different tribes. Remember, Esau became the Edomites, and Jacob became the Israelites. His other name was Israel. And you had Abram and Abraham. Abram changed his name to Abraham because he became the father of the different tribes. Now I'm almost at 10 minutes, so I'm just going to wrap it up right here. And I'm going to say the wisest king of all was Solomon. And why was he wise? Part of his wisdom came from his African relationship with the Cushites, with the Cushite representatives in Babylon, in Saudi Arabia, and in Ethiopia as well. The book of Nahor, the book of Nahum, and the book of Amos. Why was Amos killed? Because he was talking about the black relationship. Who was Paul? A hitman sent from the white elite to silence the white church, had lobbied the elite to silence their opposition, and Saul was the hitman working for the military industrial church complex of the ancient Roman society, specifically the Jewish province of. Now, you have to understand, going back to the Roman map, I know I'm going to go over just a little bit, but I'm going to have to show you what I mean. Where is the Jewish province on the Roman map? Judea, okay? And what is under it? Egyptus. So, where do you get the word black? There's ancient Greek and there's Greek. So, it's not just from Ptah, it's from Egyptus, and it's from the roots of that, which is links to blacks as well. I talk about that in my first video. I'm out of time on this one. Let me just give you a quick rundown on this motherfucker. You see where the Syrians are, you see where the Arabs are, you see where the Jews are, you see where Egyptos, and it touches the Jews. And you know the Syrians have nothing to do with the Jews besides occupying them, destroying their temple, subjugating them, and pissing them off. While the Egyptians were the ones that preserved them, that allowed Joseph and his family to come in and become chancellor and to have own expensive land, gave Abraham land in the Delta, gave him his wife back, allowed the Jews to leave, and I'll end it there.